Hi Gemini, here's a general look at your solar chart for April 2014, and we are in for a busy time, astrologically speaking, over April. There's some gale force influences coming up, and it could turn out to be quite a notable month in our diaries when we look back. There's, among other things, there's the Cardinal Grand Cross, which is a configuration in our skies over April. It was kind of lining up in the back end of March and will still be kind of just separating over the beginning of May. And this is where Mars, Jupiter, Uranus and Pluto, with some Mercury thrown in, are making a cross figure, or a big square in our skies. And there's also going to be a lunar eclipse. There's going to be the sun lining up at the beginning of the month, briefly, very briefly, with Jupiter, Uranus and Pluto. And to cap it all off, there's going to be a solar eclipse in Taurus on the 29th. Now, the Grand Cross energies are going to be colliding from mid-month onwards and will once again set up a sort of standing wave frequency or cosmic signature of intent for a general loosening and unraveling of corroded establishment structures in our societies. And this has been going on for a few years now, and there's so much change flying around, and this particular pattern in our skies, which is kind of comes together and then separates and comes together and separates, it has been, you know, even affecting the weather. This time it's going to be even more noticeable, I think, because we've got Mars in the mix. And Mars is going retrograde, though, during April, and the advice would be not to launch into anything major or throw down the gauntlet in any way, taking any kind of action or proceedings against someone, or indeed important negotiations even. It's better to wait until Mars goes direct from the 20th of May. However, there is a diamond here, a pearl in the oyster, as it were, because we have Venus in an extremely favorable angle to three of the major players here in this Grand Cross over April, and this transit of Venus is going to be in Pisces, and that means that there is going to be like a safety valve taking some of the pressure off the pressure cooker, really, of the Grand Cross figure in our skies. And in Pisces, Venus is at her most sensitive and altruistic. She is in the sign of higher service and for caring for one another, and, you know, coming down off our high horse and actually being cooperative, compromising and empathic. Venus in Pisces helps us, or rather, you know, opens the door and says, okay, feel what it's like to walk in that person's shoes. So those of us who are ready to grasp that ultimately it's not about differences, it's not about black and white or right or wrong, or they said, she said, he said, shouldn'ts. It is actually about commonalities and what we share here under this same sky, on this same earth, on this starship that's this planet that is our home. And even if there is some, you know, moron pushing party politics at you, or proclaiming company policies, or, you know, some job's worth bending your ear, just try to stay calm, connected to your center, which Venus will help and support during this month. And then you can perhaps stay in that, what I would call higher awareness or unity consciousness, which is that of non-judgment. Yes, it's quite a big ask, but this amazing Venus energy, is the way out. It's the exit door out of the, you know, the picture house on fire, as it were. You know, maybe I'm overstating it, because some signs are not going to be, or rather the parts, the degrees in the signs are not going to be feeling it as heavily as other signs will. But when you look at the wider stage, you can see how this long-running aspect between Uranus and Pluto, which this month is going to have Mars lighting its fuse, has been panning out in our societies. But there's going to be another video, and there should be a link to it somewhere here, more about the Grand Cross. So for you in April, there's, well, to start, there was a new moon on March the 30th, and that lined up nicely with Uranus, Jupiter, and Pluto, and that'll be active over April, because that will kind of, its expiry date is at the end of April, and that could have you busting out of something that's been holding you back. So you should be taking the initiative to mix with new people who can get the ball rolling, can help you progress in some way or another, whether that's in a group context or it's somebody maybe with sort of technological expertise or something like that. The solar eclipse at the very end of the month, more or less when that lunar eclipse energy is expiring, this is setting up a new wave which will be unfolding over the subsequent 6 months. And so it is more powerful than that lunar eclipse of March the 30th. And really and truly, on that day, if you were to do something on that day to change your habits in some way, to go in for more nurturing, sensitive activity, to use your imagination, to get lost in something, or meditate, or do something artistic in this very service-orientated area where the eclipse is going to be happening. So maybe just be there, you know, for others more on that day, and get the personal desires and the agenda out of the way, and then that intention will be set up for the following six months. Now, until the 20th, the solar energies make it a very proactive phase when friendships, contacts new and old, more involvement within a community or group of kindred spirits, or people who have a particular interest in common, is going to have more of your attention. Networking, technology, that's also quite strongly highlighted too, but it's a very progressive feel. It's very like, okay, we're going somewhere now, you know, no more spinning the wheels in the mud sort of thing. Until the 8th, discussions, correspondence, and ideas may revolve around short-term plans, longer-term considerations, you know. So, you know, which way from here? You know, how do we proceed from this point onwards? And also career is highlighted, a new enterprise, communicating more with those who can facilitate your aims, and being alert to the feedback and how things are unfolding, both in your personal bubble, but also on the wider stage. Always keep your ears cocked for what's going on the wider stage. Vehicles, transport, communications equipment could also be on your mind. And then from the 8th, it's a period in which to discuss, consider, and generally kind of just mull over with others, friends, and those within a group, maybe associates as well. And you could find yourself being quite articulate here, but also listening to somebody else being very erudite on a certain subject that you've got to get your head around. And others could surprise or delight you with their fresh and unusual take on things. Anything which serves the common good will be on your mind, but there could be a sudden illumination around mid-month which catapults you onto a new train of thinking. And then from the 20th, the sun's energies manifest as more of a pull towards things going on in the background, very much, as I said, the being there for others, because that's when the sun goes into the house of higher service in your sun sign chart, Gemini. And you could be more aware of things to do with the past. You could be more in touch with your feelings, your emotions, but also you could be more aware of others' feelings and emotions and what their needs and requirements are. And the sun is in this karmic house, so others might not realize just quite how much you're doing on their behalf. Another way this can work for you artistic children of the heavenly twins is that imagination could be working overtime. The artistic ones among you could really be using this more inward introspective position of the sun to use that dream material, that imagination of yours, and don't let yourself get worked up over something that hasn't happened yet either. Happily, intuitive insights can show you the way to go. And then from the 21st, Mercury the 23rd, I should have said, Mercury goes into this same area. And so therefore, from the 20th, really with the Sun and Mercury in this more inward, introspective area, being more aware of subtle energies, in intuition, signs, omens, you know, music in the architecture, spinning in infinity, well, why not? And you could just feel like you're zoning out a bit sometimes. You're kind of going with the flow of a more subtle drum there. But on the other hand, in the material world which we're in, you could feel like something's ambiguous, it's vague, you're not quite certain about it, something's at 6s and 7s. This is a good time for you to tuck yourself away a little bit more, just kind of almost like melt into the furniture or be in the background. But again, that feeling of support, that feeling of nurturing, either for others, but also for yourself. I engineered times to get away into your own little world. And perhaps also things to do with the past, perhaps the emotions, as I said, they're going to be more sensitive. And maybe you're looking at old knee-jerk reactions and realizing that they are quite counterproductive, and you know you need to get out of the way of those and reach more towards, stop doing those bad habits and reach more towards something which will bring happiness and well-being. And until the 6th, a key relationship could revolve around somewhat a distance, travel, or you're bonding with somebody from an academic or advice-giving type environment. You know, I say bonding, maybe it's fleeting, but you're getting to know them. But it can actually be longer-term type as well. You're more likely to connect with knowledge or expertise which balances your perspective or indeed adds to, because somebody gives you a really fresh slant on something, and it just fleshes the whole picture out for you more. And at this time, you yourself will be probably valued and appreciated for your knowledge and expertise in some area, your know-how, but also, as I say, you're valuing someone else. And also, this is a good time to beat the drum on something, put the word out onto a wider stage in some way or another, and that could benefit you materially as well. But definitely you and someone will be on a bit of a learning curve together over this time here. And then from the 6th, Venus can create more, and that would have been going on in the month before, in March as well, that one there. And then from the 6th, Venus then moves into creating more favorable circumstances in business or career matters, and your general goals and ambitions, authority figures, officials, establishment type figures, they're more likely to be on your side and positively really emphasized in your life. There could be somebody there with a knowledge and an expertise to help you, and you yourself could be the one who steps up the plate and takes a firm but friendly stand and sort of gives somebody else a leg up the ladder, you know, in some way, just to give them a friendly hand to achieve their aims and ambitions. Just be the enabler. So there's a lot about enabling and supporting here for you this month, Gemini. And this transit may involve you in more artistic type activities and that are recognized by others and appreciated by others. So, you know, you lay it all out in your shop window, and you could team up with someone to your mutual advantage. Now, Saturn is in this long transit of your sun sign chart. Been there since October 2012 and will be there unless you're very late, Gemini, until Christmas Eve 2014. And this is the time when you've got a lot of duties and tasks and jobs just barreling out of nowhere at you, you know, and you just got to attend to them, get things organized, repairs, maintenance, very maintenance orientated, this area here, and also getting ahead of the game with anything to do with health. So really being just plugging away and you know, that obstinate side of you coming out to complete things and to get things how you'd like them to be, both with work, but also all of this sort of maintenance and repairs and the to-do list, but with health as well. Might be somebody else's health too. And just chipping away, plugging away at it, and applying yourself, making yourself useful. Service providers, co-workers, maybe even equipment or methodologies at times could present obstacles or cramp your style at times. And these challenges are just going to make you more savvy and help you make wiser choices in the future, hopefully. Until July, Mars is in a more spontaneous and for some quite romantic area, and this gives you the trigger to be more in the mood to take a chance on love or to take a gamble on something be speculative, but don't risk what you can't afford to lose, of course. But Mars does tend to be hasty, you know, before you know what you've done, you've gone and, you know, bet your shirt on that horse, as it were. And so just try, because Mars has got a very sort of tumbling forwards energy and doesn't seem to have an off switch. So I just try to sort of, you know, count to 10 or sleep on something before you, you know, make a major move, particularly financially. There could be occasions when you do feel more the center of attention, though, you know, the sort of admiring glances coming your way. So that's not a bad thing. And that could be for you yourself, something that you can do really well that sort of gets you to stand out and something that you really enjoy doing. Or it might just be for, you know, something that you are producing, something that is coming from you and that you're standing behind, as it were. But whatever's going on, you should, at this time with Mars here over this exceptionally long transit, go for things which make you really, things that you really enjoy, that make you feel empowered, that make you feel good, and any project which is maybe entrepreneurial or creative and definitely artistic as well. Take advantage of Jupiter. Also, Jupiter is in another long transit until July, to decide what is of highest priority for you at this time and at this stage in your life's journey as well. And he's going to help you to think positively, more positively about basic resources, money, property, and maybe, you know, expand upon them, make improvements there, and also help you to realize, you know, what it is of ultimate, you know, worth to you, what you value the most about what you have already, or about, you know, what you'd like to get your hands on as well, and how much that will be of value to you. And others are likely to show their appreciation for your your practical ability, well, just your abilities actually, but also your talents, and maybe open the door to you developing those talents, and turning that into a lucrative expertise that, you know, others will come to you for. And that's it actually for April. So if you know your rising sign or your moon sign, listen to the forecast for those and sort of piece it together in the way that makes sense to you. And also, if you want to know which parts of your sign, which dates in your sign are going to be most influenced by this month's transits, then you'll see the written version of this on my website. And I'll see you the next time.